Marvel's Scarlet Witch and Vision series, or WandaVision in the rest of the world, on Disney Plus has given MCU fans a lot to theorize about with its unusual sitcom premise and the antics of distorting reality within the small town of Westview. There are numerous theories that try to explain everything that happens with Wanda Maximoff and her husband Vision, but we have devised a theory that explains almost all the big unknowns with the same answer. It revolves around something that literally looks us in the face in each episode from the top of Vision's synthetic head, the gem of the mind. Let's review the big questions and demonstrate how the gem of the mind can help solve the complex puzzle that is WandaVision. Warning: spoilers from WandaVision episode 5 below. The theory of the gem of the mind. To explain the gem of the mind theory, we need to determine what actions Wanda probably took after the last time we saw her at the end of Avengers Endgame. Alone and grieving by pain, it is not difficult to imagine that Wanda began to look for a way to bring back to life her only true love, Vision. Wanda discovered that Vision's body was held at SWORD headquarters and entered to recover it, as shown by director Hayward through images from the security camera in episode 5. Now, despite taking into account Vision's body, Wanda would still lack the key ingredient to give her the spark of life, the gem of the mind. Imagine this: Wanda reassembling the body of Vision and activating it, only to realize that it is a shadow of her ancient self because it does not have the miraculous essence of life granted by the gem of the mind. This puts Wanda in an impossible situation. Thanos destroyed the gem of the mind along with the rest of the Infinity Gems at the beginning of Endgame, and Captain America returned Loki's stolen scepter to its proper place in the past at the end of that same movie. Assuming time travel is off the table, that leaves Wanda with only one feasible option to obtain the gem of the mind. This brings us to the heart of our whole theory: Wanda took the gem of the mind from another universe. It makes sense. If Wanda has a new gem of the mind from another reality, then she easily answers numerous questions. How did Vision come back to life? Wanda gave him the gem of the mind of another universe. We see Vision walking through Westview with an intact and shiny gem of the mind right there on its forehead. One would think that more importance would have been given to the fact that somehow he has an infinity gem in his head, even though all those rainbow rocks are supposed to be reduced to atoms. Of course, there was that terrifying moment of zombie Vision, which made us wonder if that is the true state of Vision, and the normal Vision that we are seeing is a mere illusion and he doesn't really have the gem of the mind. But in episode 5, Captain Monica Rambeau, Agent Jimmy Woo and Dr. Darcy Lewis discovers that everything inside the hex is real, not an illusion. So it apparently means that the gem of the mind is also real. Perhaps the zombie Vision only appeared in Wanda's mind as a nightmare flash of what would happen to her if she no longer had the gem of the mind. One could argue that the mind gem of Vision could be some other matter transmuted into a gem that resembles the gem of the mind but does not have its power, like Monica's Kevlar vest that becomes elegant in the 70s. But for the sake of our theory, we are assuming that is not the case. Now, even if Vision wears an authentic gem of the mind from another universe, there is still a big trap. The comic book version, the Infinity Stones, only works correctly in its universe of origin. If the MCU follows this rule, then Vision can only be alive in the world from which the gem of the mind was taken. That could be the reason why Wanda created the Hex. It is a bubble that contains a gap to the other universe, a safe space for the WandaVision family to live an idyllic life. According to our theory, if Vision left the Hex, he would die again. That may be why Wanda defended the Hex so fiercely and aggressively when he came out of the bubble to face SWORD. She finally recovered her husband and formed a family, and literally can only exist in the Hex, so she will fight to support them. How did Evan Peters' Quicksilver appear? It is from the same alternative universe as that gem of the mind. We never saw Infinity Gems in Fox's X-Men movies, but according to Marvel Comics tradition, there is a set in every universe through the multiverse, so it could be that Wanda took the gem of mind from the X-Men world. Just as Wanda took the gem of the mind from another universe because hers was destroyed, she summoned the Quicksilver from another world because her real brother is dead. Why did Wanda create a barrier around Westview? Taking the gem of the mind from another reality caused an unpleasant rupture between universes. As the old woman, Tilda Swinton, explained to Bruce Banner in Avengers Endgame, Removing an infinity stone from its proper place in space and time can have catastrophic consequences. Dr. Darcy Lewis has already determined that the radiation emitted by Hex can reach dangerous levels, but that is only the beginning. In the Avengers comic book saga by writer Jonathan Hickman, the same comic book writer responsible for the Black Order, the Battle of Wakanda and other ideas used by the MCU, it is stated that when two universes intersect into a phenomenon called incursion, they will eventually collide and both will be destroyed. The only way to avoid this mutual destruction is for one universe to destroy the other. This shows that there may be much greater consequences for Wanda's actions than she realizes. Forget the city of Westview, the whole universe could be at stake. This could sow seeds for a Secret Wars multiverse crossover movie, which is where Hickman's story finally led. When the Raid story was resolved in Secret Wars, parts of the destroyed universes were absorbed into Marvel's main universe. For example, Miles Morales' Spider-Man from the Ultimate Universe seamlessly entered the world along with his friends and family as if they had always been there from the beginning. This is how Marvel fuses the X-Men universe with the MCU and brings mutants to this other world. The fusion of the two universes would also allow Vision to exist outside the Hex because the Gem of the Mind comes from the X-Men universe and that universe would be one with the MCU. Why doesn't Vision remember anything before Westview? He is using a new Gem of the Mind. If the original mind of Vision were linked to the first Gem of the Mind, then it would be logical to think that he cannot remember anything of his life before Westview because he has a new mind. It may be that the old Vision is really gone forever and the WandaVision Vision is essentially a new and restarted Vision with the same personality, but without memories. There is a precedent for this in the comics where Vision was rebooted, but in a feelingless version by Wanda, and for nothing and no one. Why the hexagonal shape? The Gem of the Mind is hexagonal. The Gem of the Mind decorates the magic cabin of Vision, showing its 6 sides, a mid-credit. Marvel. At first, it seemed that Darcy Lewis used the term hex simply as a reference to Wanda's powers of bewitching magic in the comics. But maybe there is more than that. There are numerous hexagons throughout WandaVision, the opening and closing credits, the shape of the barrier around Westview, the slopes of Geraldine, etc. So this could be a visual side effect of the Gem of the Mind exerting its influence on Westview. In addition, the hyperspace travel version of the MCU is done through a system called Universal Neural Teleportation Network, which is represented as a hexagonal grid that opens wormholes for spacecraft to travel from one end of the universe to the other through jump points. It would not be difficult for an entrance to another universe to also have that hexagonal shape. That would make the Hex a great portal to another universe, strengthening our idea that Wanda went to another reality in search of a new Gem of the Mind. This could also mean that the MCU version of Wanda's Hex power is the power of traveling through the multiverse. Why are the people of Westview mentally controlled? Someone is using the Gem of the Mind. Wanda can mentally control individual people, or even a dozen sword soldiers, but it takes a little concentration and red glow effects. So, as she exasperatedly explained to Vision in Episode 5, there is no way she can control an entire city. Perhaps Wanda is secretly using the Gem of the Mind to greatly improve her telepathy, giving her enough power to control thousands of people at once at the bottom of her mind. Alternatively, it could be that an infamous villain is using the Gem of the Mind to control the people of the town, and possibly Wanda herself. We're not going to dive into speculations about the villain. You've heard theories about Mephisto already. But it's remarkable how Wanda sometimes seems as happily unconscious as everyone else in Westview and other times it seems that she's in control. Maybe someone is remotely leveraging the power of the Gem of the Mind to activate Wanda's powers to fix anything that threatens her plan, as it looks when Wanda edits scenes. Wanda is an incredibly powerful telepath, so it would take something as incredibly powerful as the Gem of the Mind to exercise control over her. What does the Gem of the Mind have to do with TV? The Gem of the Mind generates the same type of radiation that is detected on old televisions. This part gets a little complicated, so put on your scientist's robes. As you will remember, in Episode 4, Darcy Lewis discovered the emission of Scarlet Witch and Vision because the signal was embedded in unusually high levels of CMBR, or cosmic microwave background radiation. which Hayward explains is a relic radiation dating from the Big Bang. Do you want to know what else came from the Big Bang? Well, literally everything in the universe. But as the collector illustrated in Guardians of the Galaxy, the Infinity Stones were created and thrown into the universe by the Big Bang. Gems and CMBR may share the same type of radiation because they come from the same source. As you will remember from high school science class, the CMBR fills the empty space of the universe and is captured on common televisions when they are not tuned into a channel. When a TV shows a screen full of static, that noise is the TV capturing CMBR. If the gem of the mind really generates the same type of CMBR radiation, then it might be responsible for generating the WandaVision TV broadcast. One of the most popular theories among fans trying to explain the show's situation comedy element posits that Wanda used to enjoy watching situational comedies with her family as a child. And because she is trying to create a safe space for her new family in Westview, her fabricated reality is taking the form of classic sitcoms. It is remarkable that he has sat down to watch television with Vision several times so far, perhaps to recreate that sense of security from his childhood. And it is the gem of the mind that is giving you the ability to do that. How have Wanda's powers been improved? Re-exposing the gem of the mind. It was Hydra, through Baron von Strucker, who first gave Wanda her powers by experimenting with her with the gem of the mind. So it would be logical that Wanda could take advantage of it again to give herself additional powers. Remember that she used to have only powers of telepathy and telekinesis, but now she can manipulate reality itself, which not only makes it considerably more powerful, but aligns better with her version of the comic. How could Wanda get the gem of the mind? This is the most important question surrounding our theory. While Wanda is one of the most powerful MCU characters, he does not have the ability to open a gap between universes, so how could he obtain the Stone of the Mind from another reality? That's where our mysterious villain comes in. It would be hard to blame a desperate Wanda for accepting the help of a shadowy figure if they offered a way to bring Vision back to life. So perhaps the villain has the power to access the multiverse so that Wanda can obtain a new gem of the mind. If the villain has that kind of power, he would be a suitable general villain for Phase 4, since Loki, Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness also seem to deal with the multiverse. The villain Molecular Kill Man comes to mind as a possible candidate. He was a key player in the history of Hickman's incursion because he is a multiversal singularity, or someone who is the same person in all realities. But what price would Wanda have to pay in exchange for the help of this multiverse-jumping villain? All the signs indicate that they are his children. Since the beginning of Scarlet Witch and Vision, Wanda has been manipulated to have children. The effort has been led by Agnes, who chillingly began her relationship by immediately offering seduction techniques, and helped by the rest of the city, for the children. And as we have seen in the short time since their birth, the twins Billy and Tommy are not only resistant to Wanda's abilities, but they have some impressive powers of their own. Perhaps the villain reunited Wanda with Vision through the gem of the mind so that they could produce a powerful offspring, mutants, that they could then use for their own evil purposes. It's probably safe to assume that WandaVision ends with the resolution of the Westview conflict and the fall of the Hex barrier. So what does that mean for Wanda's kids? According to the logic of a theory, if they were given life in the alternative universe and are subject to the same rules as their father, they cannot exist outside the Hex either. They would be swallowed by the multiverse along with Vision and the other gem of the mind. We know that Elizabeth Olsen will again play her role as Wanda in the sequel to Doctor Strange with Stephen Strange by Benedict Cumberbatch, so this would explain why she is looking for him. He needs your help to save his family from the multiverse of madness.